Welcome to CodeCraftByAderemi. We will continue from where we stopped. Now, since we are done with the HTML and CSS, we'll move to the JavaScript part. Let's move to the JavaScript part. So, first we'll select the Add to Cart button. Using query selector all. So this will give us all the list of buttons. So we are now going to save it in a variable. We'll save it in a variable. So we are going to save this in a variable. Let's save it in a variable. We call it buttons. Okay. So let's select the cart list and the total display because we will update them dynamically. Let elements by ID. Click cart items. Save it in a variable called items. So we'll do the same for total too. Save it in a variable called total display. Let's move to the next step. Now, let's create the cart array. So it's going to be empty to store all the items that the user has. Now let's move to the next step. Now, buttons for each. Now what it's trying to tell us, for each button you add an event listener. That's what we're going to do. So we want to look through each button and add a click event listener. So whenever a user clicks a button, the function will run. So for each button, it's going to add a click event listener. Now let's get the product information. So we'll get product information and we'll save it in a variable. So the first one is the name. We check our HTML, we have the data name. Okay, let's connect this. It should be dataset.name. So we'll do the same for data price too. So since it will be in numbers, it will be in string, so we make use of the number function. It's going to be number open brackets button dot data set dot price. So we will change the product name and price from the data attribute. Notice we convert the price into a number because data attributes are strings by default. They are strings by default. Always know that. Now we are checking if the item already exists. So we save this in a variable called existing item. You just want to check if an item already exists. Item is new. It is equal to now if now making use of the if statement, it's a conditional statement. Now if the existing item dot if there is an existing item, the existing item should not increase by 1. Yes, that is what this is showing. If you have an item there, it should increase. And if it doesn't, it will push a new object into the cart array. That is where the else comes in. If there's no any item there, it should push the what new object into the cart array. So that is our object, which includes the name, price, and quantity. Where's this function? Render cart function. So we've not prepared the function, sorry. We'll do that now. So it is this function that will update the user interface. Now let's create it. So it is this function that is responsible for displaying cart items and calculating the total. Now, in HTML, now our cart items, we want the text to be empty. So we are trying to prevent duplications. So every time we update the cart, we completely rebuild the UI. We are pressing another variable. So we are going to name it total and name it 0. Now our cart, for each, we are looping again. So we are looping through each items in the cart array now. Each items in the cart array. So it's going to be total plus or equals item price. Total is going to be multiplied by quantity, items of quantity. So for each item, we multiply price by quantity and add it back to the total. That is what this is doing. Now I'm creating a list. using create element function. Create elements. So we saved it in a variable called li. Now let's target the li now using the inner.html. So it will contain, the list will contain the item name. We are making use of backtick. Item name multiplied by item quantity we have about item price multiplied by item quantity. So it's going to display the item name and the quantity. Then it will multiply the price and the quantity for us, and it's going to display it in the list. So it will display the product name, the quantity, and the total price for the button. And we are going to create a button now. That will be add a class to it, name it remove button. And give it an on click. So we'll call a function here. Although we've not prepared the function, we'll do that now after this. Function of the code. Function of the code, remove item. So we'll do that later after we're done with this. Now the symbol, which is a remove symbol. So that's the remove button. We've created the remove button. Now let's update the total display. Display. Okay. Item model. Okay. Total display, the text content. We're trying to change the text content to the total. So the total display is going to display the total. That's what it's going to do now. Now let's create the remove button function. The remove item function, sorry. Remove item. Index. Cat.splice. So anytime you click on the remove button, it's going to be reducing reducing it. Then the render cat will find the render it will now what? We render the cat here. What I'm trying to say is that when the remove button is clicked, we remove the item from the array using space. Then you render the cat. Now let's call the function here. Let's check if it's working. Let's check our console. Let's see if there's any error. It's not working. Let's check the console. By the way, we did not work on the width for the smaller screen. That is why it's displaying like that. Let's check where the error is coming from. Okay, it should be a single item, not items. That's why it's saying items not defined. Cat items, the potential is not a function. Okay. Okay, it should be a capital C, not smaller c. Okay. The items price and quantity are not shown. Let's go and correct that. Let's check if it's going to work. You can see chopping. Chopping. So we really worked on this full screen. Displaying the total price. Everything is working perfectly. And just like that, we built a fully functional shopping cart using JavaScript. If this video helps you understand areas, DOM manipulation and event listeners better, like the video and subscribe. Thank you.